Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard was crowned the ATP's Most Improved Player of 2024 after rising over 170 spots over the past 12 months. Some feel like Gio deserved the honor, while others believe Jack Draper, Tomas Machac, or even Taylor Fritz deserved to be Most Improved Player. So I decided to make my own Most Improved / Breakout Player list of 2024, and I compiled 10 players who finished the year inside the top 50 who I feel significantly improved their games. For these guys, 2024 was their definite big breakout season, hence the title for this video. It's kind of merging Newcomer of the Year and Most Improved into like one video with this one. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post more countdown videos like this. I have a lot more coming, so stay tuned for that. By the way, I did the same exact video with the women, so check out that video if you have not already. It didn't do as well, so you're gonna need to go and watch that video too after you finish watching this one. Now, jumping right into this countdown, starting out at number 10 is China's Zheng Chen, or Jerry Shang. Shang went from outside the top 180 to cracking the top 50 by the year's end. I knew that Jerry was primed for a strong breakthrough 2024 season, so I'm really not surprised that he made this big jump. He's a great athlete and an explosive mover, and that lefty forehand is something serious. Jerry mainly competed in the challengers in 2023, and he transitioned to the big leagues nicely this year, 2024. He started strong in his home country, China, where he made the Hong Kong semifinals, upsetting Francis Tiafoe and Root. He played a lot of challengers during the spring clay season and had a pretty solid, relatively solid grass season as he pushed Grigor Dimitrov to 5 sets at Wimbledon, but he lost after holding a 2-0 lead. It was a similar story for Jerry, unfortunately, at the next slam, the US Open, where in the third round, he led 8th seed Casper Ruud 2-0 before running out of gas in the final 3 sets. Jerry recovered well though, as he won his very next tournament, in fact the Chengdu 250 in his home country, for his maiden tour title, defeating Lorenzo Musetti in the final. That was one of 3 top 20 wins that Shang earned this season, as he also defeated Ben Shelton at Atlanta for the 2nd consecutive year. Shang's Chengdu triumph helped propel him inside the top 50, and the victory also made him the first player born in 2005 to lift an ATP title. He's also the first Chinese player to win an ATP title on home soil. Jerry seems to enjoy playing on the big stages, with him making 2 slam third rounds this season. At this young age too is a good omen, and I can see him making a slam second week really in 2025 and cracking the top 30 for real. I think though the biggest challenge for him will be just remaining healthy. Number 9 is Aussie Alexei Popyrin, who moved up 16 spots to number 24 in the world by the year's end. I felt that Alexei was knocking on the door for a while now for a big result like he had in this season. The talent was clear, especially when he won the Roland Garros boys title back in 2017. Alexei tested Novak Djokovic when he played him at both the Australian Open and Wimbledon this year, and he was considered always kind of like a solid top 50 player, but he never had a big standout result until this summer. After a disappointing clay season where he suffered a 5-match losing streak, Alexei had a life-changing tournament at the Canadian Open, defeating 5 consecutive top 20 players en route to his maiden 1000 title. Yes, some of the top players were in action in this tournament, with the Olympics being so soon after, but you still got to give credit to the Aussie. He played incredible tennis in this tournament. That final he played against Andrei Rublev was crazy, and his level was just so high. He honestly looked unbeatable out there. Alexei backed up that triumph soon after at the US Open, beating world number 2 and defending champion Novak Djokovic in the third round for the biggest win of his career. The win also brought Popyrin his first slam 4th round appearance after, of course, earning the upset. Popyrin, of course, has a huge game from the ground, but his serve can let him down still a little bit though, with throwing in some double faults at times. The unforced errors too can also be an issue for the Aussie. Still, Popyrin had an excellent 6-4 record against top 10 players this season. I think he really can be a consistent top 20 or even top 15 player for years to come. I think the Montreal and Djokovic wins will only help to give him more confidence. Alexei also will now be seated at the majors, so he'll have a better shot at going deep there and getting more points. He could definitely crack top 20 or even top 15 in the first half for sure. 8 is American Brandon Nakashima, who rose nearly 100 spots in the rankings to number 38, 4 out from his career high of number 34. Brandon is still still only 23, but it feels like he's been on the tour for a long time. He made his ATP and major main draw debuts in 2020. He reached 2 finals in 2021. He won his first title the following year, 2022, and cracked the top 50, and he made the Wimbledon second week and won the next gen ATP finals in 2022 as well. 2023, though, brought a halt to Brandon's upward trajectory. He did deal with a knee injury and suffered some pretty tight, rough losses. The American started 2024 playing pretty much nothing but challengers. Summer, though, is when things really started turning around for Brandon on the main ATP tour. He made back-to-back Masters round of 16s at Montreal and Cincinnati, beating 2 top 15 Americans, Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz. Brandon made another round of 16 at the US Open, though, taking 2 more top 20 scalps in Holger Rune and Lorenzo Musetti. Brandon did not make a final this season, but he still sits at his best year-end ranking inside the top 40 and is knocking on the door of being seated at the Australian Open. The talent is clearly evident with Nakashima, and it also helped too that he's remained healthy for much of this season, and he got over the hump of beating some high-ranked players. I think Brandon has the potential to crack top 25 for sure, and I feel like, though, he needs good runs at 1000s or even going deep at a 500 too. Now, 7th is the youngest man here, and that is 19-year-old Jakob Mensik. Mensik took home the newcomer of the year for 2024 thanks to him rising nearly 120 spots this past year. Jakob first got on my radar last year at the US Open, where he made the 3rd round out of nowhere at just 18 years old. I was eyeing him to rise in the ranks this season, and he did not disappoint. 2024 was Mensik's first true full season on the pro ranks, and his big breakthrough moment came early at the Doha 250, where he beat Andrei Rublev en route to his first tour final. The Rublev win was Mensik's first top 10 and top 5 victory. His runner-up finish at Doha made him the youngest man also to crack the top 100 at the time. Mensik played a pretty sparse schedule this season, and it's likely due to him wanting to protect his body, as he still is, of course, pretty young. Aside from a win over Grigor Dimitrov in Madrid, the Czech didn't do much notable until the US Open, where he once again made the round of 32, upsetting world number 19 Felix Auger-Aliassime in the first round. Mensik finished the season strong too, as he made his first 1000 quarterfinal in Shanghai, where he beat both Dimitrov and Rublev again before pushing his idol Novak Djokovic to 3 sets. He also made the Vienna quarterfinals that following tournament. Jakob has a very, very solid game from the ground, especially for him to only be 19 years old. He kind of reminds me of Tomas Berdych, and I think it's because they're first both Czech, but also they kind of sort of have similar game styles. I think Jakob has the potential to be a top 10 player like his predecessor Berdych in the future, and I anticipate him to rise even more in the rankings next season. My number 6 player is Flavio Cobolli, who joined the Italian mafia of ATP stars this season when he jumped from outside the top 100 to inside the top 35. I just heard about Cobolli this year, to be honest. He primarily grinded it out on the Challenger Tour, and that helped him crack the top 100 last year. Cobolli earned his first slam main draw win at this year's Australian Open, where he upset Nicolas Jarry en route to the 3rd round. That win over Jarry marked his first top 50 and first top 20 wins. After this, Cobolli started consistently qualifying to play the main draw tour level matches, and he got some solid victories, beating the likes of Ben Shelton, Nicolas Jarry again, and Felix Auger-Aliassime. He nearly upset Holger Rune too at Roland Garros in the 2nd round, falling in a 5th set tiebreaker. The summer is when Cobolli started making a bigger name for himself, notably reaching his first tour final at the DC 500, ultimately falling to Seb Korda. That run helped Cobolli crack the top 35 and gave him even more confidence. The Italian had a pretty decent finish to his season. He made the Cincinnati round of 16 and US Open 3rd rounds, and he was seeded at US Open 2 for the first time at a major. Cobolli has a very well-rounded game, I feel. He is a good mover, and he has good net skills too, and I think he'll be successful really on any surface. That forehand of his is his clear big weapon out there, but he does need to still improve his backhand. His serve also could stand to be His serve could also stand to be a bit of a stronger asset for him too. Giving predictions for Cobolli's 2025 season, I think that he'll finish around the top 30-ish area. I don't really see him having a big 2025 season, but I do believe that he'll have a couple of solid standout results. Now, starting off the top 5 is 27-year-old Alejandro Tabilo, who had the biggest rankings rise of any player in the top 30 this season, shooting up 62 spots to world number 23. Earlier in his career, Tabilo battled some health issues kind of related to his weight, and he wasn't able to really fully maximize his potential until this season. He started this year very, very strong, where in Auckland as a qualifier, he won his maiden title, and he cracked the top 50 as a result. The Chilean has success on all surfaces this season, as during the clay stretch, Alejandro made the finals of his home tournament, the Chile Open, before toppling world number 1 Novak Djokovic in Rome, which was also his first top 10 victory. Tabilo eventually made the Final Four in Italy, which was his first 1000 semifinal. Then on the grass, Tabilo cracked the top 20 after claiming his second tour title in Mallorca. Alejandro told the ATP that his key to success lies in finding out his ideal game style, which is kind of counterattacking. He's also noted that he's made significant service improvements, and he has had an increase in aggression from the ground overall too. Being honest, I do not expect Tabilo to maintain a top 25 level or ranking in 2025, but hopefully he'll prove me wrong. At number 4 is Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, who of course had the biggest rankings jump on this list, moving up 174 spots to 31. I also mentioned, of course, in the intro that Gio was awarded the ATP Most Improved Player of the Year too. Mpetshi Perricard had initial success on the Challenger Tour in the early part of this season, winning 3 of them. Those results earned him a wild card at the Lyon 250, and like his friend Arthur Fils, who did this the year prior, Gio won his first tour title here, which shot him up from 117 to 66 in the world. Gio's first title coming on the clay is intriguing to me because honestly, he's a serve bot. I know a lot of people don't like for him to be called that, but I gotta call a spade a spade. It's really no surprise though that Gio made a run to the Wimbledon second week a month later, and that was his first time that he made a slam second week, and he did so as a lucky loser. Giovanni did struggle after that Wimbledon run, as he lost 8 of his last 9 matches heading into the Basel Indoors 500 tournament, where though he stormed his way to the biggest title of his career. Mpetshi Perricard didn't get his serve broken one time this tournament, and he hit a whopping 109 aces en route to the title. That win got him his current ranking of 31 in the world, and that put him in decent standing to be seeded for the Australian Open. It has definitely been a breakout season for Mpetshi Perricard, and I'm not mad at him for winning Most Improved Player, but I feel like Newcomer of the Year would have been a more fitting title for the 21-year-old. The 6'8" Frenchman could be the next John Isner, but he needs to up his shot tolerance a lot, I feel. He cannot solely rely on his serve against the best of the best, and you gotta have a decent return game, and he also too needs to strengthen that single-handed backhand, which is a clear, glaring weakness in his game. Gio arguably has the best serve in the men's tour right now, but even that could stand to be improved for real, which is kind of scary. If he continues to refine his game in the offseason, I can for sure see him making a deeper run at a major, like at SW19 in 2025. Third is the oldest guy on the list, and that is 30-year-old Aussie Jordan Thompson. As you can tell from his age, Thompson has been around on the tour for a minute. For much of his career, Jordan seemed to be a mere top 100 player who enjoyed solid challenger success. However, this season is when he started making a name for himself on the main tour. I think a big turning point for Jordan came actually in his first tournament of the year in Brisbane at home, where he saved 3 match points before beating Rafael Nadal to advance to the semifinals. Rafa was just returning from a long injury layoff, but that still might have been the biggest win of Thompson's career at the time, and it potentially gave him a lot of confidence. A month later, Thompson finally lifted his first ATP Tour title in Los Cabos, where he first recovered from 6-love 4-1 down to Alex Michelsen in the quarterfinals. He followed that up with wins over Alexander Zverev and Casper Ruud in the semifinals and finals respectively. Thompson struggled to make inroads during the clay swing, but he returned to top form during the grass court season, making the Queen's semifinals, beating 2 top 15 players in Ruud and Rune and Taylor Fritz. Soon after, the Aussie made the Atlanta finals and the US Open round of 16, which matched his best career showing at a slam. Thompson ended the season with his first Masters 1000 quarterfinal as well in Paris, and he beat Casper Ruud and Ruud for his 4th top 10 win of the season. Thompson only had 3 top 10 wins to his name in his entire career before 2024. Thompson also has significant success on the double circuit, winning the US Open and finishing runner-up at Wimbledon alongside compatriot Max Purcell. I think doubles has helped Thompson's singles game even more, as he seems to become an even more well-rounded player. Jordan's ultimate player on this list is Czech Tomas Machac, who is now at a career high ranking of number 25 in the world. Machac was primarily a challenger player up until this year, and he first got on my radar at this year's Australian Open, where he shocked Francis Tiafoe in the second round for his first top 20 win. Tomas and his short shorts stunned the American with his aggressive first strike tennis, charging the net whenever he had an opportunity. Machac beat even bigger names this season, including Andre Rublev, Carlos Alcaraz, and Novak Djokovic. Tomas didn't get his hands on that maiden tour title this season, but he still has some strong results, like finishing runner-up at Geneva, the 250 there, and he also made the Miami Open quarterfinals and then the Shanghai semifinals. Machac also made his maiden slam second week at the US Open. The Czech brought home a gold medal as well in the mixed doubles alongside on and off again flame Katerina Siniakova. Tomas has a lot of game, and Alcaraz said himself that he felt that he was playing a top 5 player after losing to Tomas in Shanghai. Top 5 next year is going to be a tough ask, but I'm confident that he'll crack top 15 at least in 2025. I think the next step for Machac is for him to win a title at least, which I think that he will do next year. He's also going to be seeded for the slams now too, so I'm going to be expecting some more second week slam showings next year as well. And the Christians Court Award for the most improved men's player or biggest breakout men's player of 2024 goes to Jack Draper, who rose over 45 spots to number 15, his career high ranking. Draper, who turns 23 in a week, was hyped as Britain's next big men's tennis hopeful. It makes sense as he has the advantage of being lefty, has a solid baseline and net game, and is just an overall great athlete. Many anticipated 2023 to be Draper's breakout season, but he was unfortunately stalled by numerous injury issues, which sidelined him for decent chunks of that year. Draper still had a decent finish to his 2023, making the Sofia Open final, and he then finished runner-up again in his first tournament of 2024 in Adelaide. After a so-so clay season, Draper finally got over the hump and won his maiden tour title in Stuttgart, beating Berrettini in the finals. Jack kept that momentum going the following week, beating Carlos Alcaraz in Queens en route to the semifinals. In the North American hardcourt swing, Draper made the Cincinnati quarterfinals after that controversial moment with Felix Auger-Aliassime. He went one round better at the US Open, making his first slam semifinal a couple weeks later. Jack picked up an abdominal injury in Tokyo and was forced to miss Shanghai, but despite that setback, Draper won the Vienna 500 tournament, the biggest title of his career, and also it brought him to that current career high of number 15 in the world. Again, Jack is only 23 years old, but I still feel like this was a long time coming for the lefty, and I feel like he'll perhaps be one of the biggest challenges to another Alcaraz center dominance as well. I think the next step for Draper will be to win a 1000 honestly, and then perhaps next a slam. The biggest obstacle for me still, I think, will be his own body and remaining healthy, but if he does, I think the sky's the limit for Draper in 2025. That is all for this top 10 countdown list, and let me know what y'all think about the list. Do you think there are any players who I snubbed who deserve to be on the list? Drop them in the comments below. If I have to give an honorable mentions, shout out, it would be to Nuno Borges, then Alex Mickelson, honestly, Dominic Sinner, Taylor Fritz, and of course, Artur Fies. Make sure you all subscribe to and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my next countdown video, which will be the top 10 upsets of the 2024 season. Thank you all again for watching and for your support, and I will see you all next time here on Christian's Court.